The biggest scandal right now is without a doubt the issue of South African influencers who were paid to promote a program that is allegedly a human trafficking syndicate. So, although there is like a big conversation that I feel like we need to talk about, I still feel like we need to think and look for the actual big problem. Because in South Africa right now, it seems like each and every single person who needs to start a syndicate, who needs to start a criminal ring, basically, plans to do that in South Africa. Now, that has been evident throughout the years. We have seen South Africa being the hub of prostitution. We have seen it being the hub of drugs. We have seen it being the hub of, just criminal activities at large. And this issue of human trafficking just adds on to that. So we really need to talk about what exactly is it that positions South Africa as the center on of all of those illegal activities. So the biggest problem that I feel like we really need to address as a country is the issue of unemployment, because South Africans at this point are basically just vulnerable to all of these schemes, to all of these scams, to all of this criminal activities. Firstly, because people are basically struggling in South Africa. People are struggling to make ends meet. People are struggling just to meet their day-to-day needs. You understand? So that's like one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people see South Africa as an opportunity. Basically, people think that if we can promise South Africans jobs, then they will jump to that activity. It does not matter if it's something that's out of the country, if it's something, because people are basically struggling in South Africa. So that's making us vulnerable as a country. That's showing all these syndicates that there is a gap there, and then that gap can be used to our advantage. So they are capitalizing on the fact that South Africa is really struggling with the job market. A lot of young people are unemployed, as you have seen also on the recent scandal that we're talking about, the issue of human trafficking. That ad specified that they need young people. And right now in South Africa, we have the highest amount of unemployment, and that affects young people. At large, a lot of young people are struggling to find jobs despite of what the qualifications they have, what the experience they have. So that is making us vulnerable as a country. Now we have seen, like I've mentioned before, that we have seen a couple of illegal activities happening in South Africa. For an example, let us look at the whole issue of fake goods. Let us look at the whole issue of fake alcohol. I feel like the reason that is happening is mainly because our laws are a bit they are not that strict on a lot of people. We have seen a couple of cases where people were arrested and then they were let go later on, because apparently there is not enough evidence. And also the whole issue of us having ports. We have a very good trade route, so we have ports, and then things can easily come in the country without anybody noticing. So it's very easier for a lot of people to kind of put in the country whatever they want to put in. So I feel like also the laws are very light on a lot of people. For an example, let us look at immigration. The laws are very light on immigration. People are still coming into the country illegally, mainly because we have no borders. You get it? So our borders are very weak, so it's very easier for anybody to just come into South Africa as they please. So that's also a big problem. You understand? As much as we still have those weak borders that everybody can just get into their country, yes, people will come and do crime. People will come and kidnap people. People will come and commit all these heinous crimes, because our borders are open to everybody to just enter. Anybody can just decide that tomorrow I'm going to South Africa and I don't need a passport or whatever. They will just get in the country and that's it. So that's also making us look weak. But one thing that I'd like to talk about, the last thing that I'd like to mention, is the issue of leadership. Now, the fact that all of these people who are in big positions, all of these people who are in, in the public protector services, basically, are involved in crime. It mainly shows that the whole world knows that we are weak. In short, the whole world knows that South Africa's police services is weak. South Africa's protecting services is weak. So one thing that I'd like to also mention, and this is like one thing that could possibly be the reason behind all of these things that are happening, the fact that we have police people being in bed with criminal syndicates, being in bed with international criminal syndicates. Because the thing about syndicates, they know, they talk. So people know that, in South Africa, you can just give them a few thousands and then they will look the other way. So that's like one of the biggest thing that's making us look weak. It's making South Africa look weak towards a lot of countries. They feel like, as long as you have money, you can do it as you please in South Africa. And that has been proven a lot of times in the past. So I think that's like one thing that's making us look bad out there. A lot of people know that, the South African police works with the cartel, the South African police works with this and this. So it really positions us in a bad light. And it makes us look vulnerable, because who is gonna arrest these people if they are found here? Let us look at the number of people who have been convicted because of, immigration crimes. It's not a lot of those that have been convicted, but, like I said, the whole issue of this human trafficking and then people targeting South Africa, it comes from something. It did not just materialize. It's something that has been thought of, and I don't think that this is the beginning. I believe that it has been working for a very long time, because a lot of South Africans, I remember there's apparently an issue that says that there are South Africans who are stuck in Russia at this point. 200 South Africans, I think it's 200 South Africans, if I'm not wrong, who are stuck in Russia because of human trafficking. So it clearly shows that this has been ongoing for a very long time. And then the fact that the syndicate was as comfortable to a point of inviting South African influencers to promote, they're just treating this as, they are not treating it as a crime anymore if they can just hire influencers to promote their syndicates. So I feel like at this point the bigger problem that we need to fix is internal. I know that, the influencers did a lot of wrong. They misled a lot of people, and they should be held accountable also, because they were supposed to research and, just find out if what they are promoting is legit. As much as some have mentioned that it's not about the money, they should have made thorough research. Because once you promote, especially when it's something that takes people out of the country, that they should have made research. So I still feel like they should be held accountable. But on the other hand, I also feel like we need to deal with the internal problems that are positioning us as South Africans as a, as possible candidates. Basically, that's positioning us as South Africans as possible victims. Once we address those issues, and I'm talking about issues such as unemployment, I'm talking about issues such as corruption, and I'm talking about issues such as, the borders, unguarded borders, that anybody can just pass through at any time. Once we deal with those issues, then we wouldn't be the target of a lot of these criminal syndicates, especially international syndicates. Once we deal with that, and then the law stops being too soft on crime, the law stops being too soft on illegal immigration. Because as we speak right now, South Africa is favoring illegal immigration. A lot of times they've mentioned that anybody who is within the borders of South Africa, it doesn't matter how you got in the country, as long as you're in South Africa, you have the right to access healthcare services, public healthcare services. You have the right to education. So as long as we still have those laws in place, I feel like we will remain as the target. South Africa will always remain as the target, as much as our police ministers are still being implicated in such, big allegations. Will always remain the target to this international crime syndicates. So we need to start with the internal issues, and once we can handle the internal issues, then South Africa will be at a better position, and we won't be as vulnerable. We won't be as desperate to a point that we can travel to another country. Because, I do not blame the people who would want to travel to another country, because there are basically no opportunities in South Africa. People are still struggling. So all of those things are making us look vulnerable, and they are potentially making us the target to all of these criminal syndicates. So we need to deal with those issues. We need to solve these internal issues, and once we have solved that, then I believe that South Africa could be a bigger, a better, place for a lot of us. So as much as we're still struggling with those things, it's gonna be a problem. Let us find ways to sort this out. And I know that a lot of us do not really have power, because the power is in the people that are in power, in short. So that's in short what I wanted to talk about. Let me know what are your thoughts in the comment section. Till next time, peace.